I almost guarantee that in your local gym, at least once a week, you see some form of embarrassing, pathetic ego lifting. And especially with some of the stuff I've seen online in the past years of just some weird fucking ego lifting going on. People putting obscene weights on bars and not be able to shrug the thing. People deadlifting looking like a Labrador taking a shit in the back garden. Even people to half squatting to try to impress people around them. Ego lifting is very common, but what if the ego lifting turns into even something more evolved and weird, like creepy chat up lines? Well, here's a random story for you. So I was training this morning in the gym with my friend, and we were both doing stiff leg deadlifts. And when I came into the place, as usual, most gyms, bars were taken up, so we waited. And there was a guy over on a Smith machine, and I noticed the bar was quite down low, and it was about 180, 190 kilo on it. Impressive weight, you know. I was kind of, what is he doing with that weight? So it turns out he was shrugging like this. But instead of, you know, bringing the traps up and down, like someone would, like, ooh, look at the delt detail on that. Oh. Anyway, I just got distracted. But instead of shrugging like that, right, he would go, it looked like some disabled penguin that's at his last 5 seconds of life. And people were looking at him. Now, he was relishing in this, right? He was walking around. He was actually then walking around deliberately with his hands on his hips, looking at people around, very impressed by this, very impressed with what he just did. Well, most of the gym were looking going, what the fuck was that? We eventually got over to the bar. He came beside us on a squat rack. A girl was on the squat rack already, but he was sort of waiting. And as soon as she took one plate off, he shot over. I was like, you finished? And she's like, yeah. And then he started his chat up lines like, I always see you in here. And she awkwardly looked at him and went, yeah, you too. And that was the start of the creepiness. And then he started putting weighted belts on for dips, and he would put the weights between his belt, and then he would walk around laps in the gym with his hands on his hips, staring at people. And look how impressive this weight is between my balls. Have you seen it? And that's when it got worse. And then the girl, he went over to her. We had to hear this awkward exchange, and he was like, "Do you still work in that cafe I seen you in?" She startled by this because she's never met him. Yeah. And then goes back over to her again and goes, you haven't been to Iceland? The shop? No, the country. A word of advice for guys out there, right? I know some guys, you know, they go to the gym trying to prove themselves and look for women, but, sure, public places, you may meet someone, but most of the time, no. Like, I'm all for someone that's trying to further masculinity and confidence and self-improvement, but going over to some random woman that's working out in your headphones and you're going, you ever been to Tesco? It's a bit fucking weird. And also the ego shit. Don't get me started on the ego shit. I walked over to the squat rack to take a plate off his squat rack to ask him, is this okay, mate? Thumbs up, smile in my face. To which he just looked at me, didn't blink an eyelid, looked at me aggressively and didn't say a fucking word. That to me was like, okay, I'm going to get prepared. I'm going to make you look like an absolute knobhead in this gym. You want to think you're the big alpha? I'm going to make you look like a knobhead. So just decided to pull almost 200 kilo on a stiff leg for multiple reps. That's the kind of like, the only ego I have is it channeling off other people. If I see some sort of dickhead in the gym that thinks he's trying to impress other people, I'll feed off that energy quite well. But ego lifting is something you're going to see in gyms very, everyone doing stuff completely wrong. But I just thought that story was quite interesting to share in terms of the chat up lines, because women do talk about quite a lot that how they get chatted up quite routinely in the gyms and have awkward encounters. Now, like any public place you go to, you open yourself to attract all the cretins of the day. But that one was particularly awkward and creepy because we had to endure and listen to it so close to us. So here's a word of advice, men, right? When we go to the gym, the etiquette, okay? If you're single and you're looking for a woman and for some reason there is direct signs, like i.e. she comes over and speaks to you herself, fine, I'm sure you could strike conversations and talk. But if it's needed to be that push, you come over to someone to try to ego lift in front of them, like some sort of pathetic peacock trying to do, you know, show its wings and position itself going, look at me, I'm ready to mate. Or you have to really give really weird chat up lines. I would just focus on your own shit. And this is what I would encourage you. Focus on your own training, focus on your nutrition, focus on your betterment, and your betterment will open your opportunities of various other women. That's as basic as it gets, right? sometimes you won't need to go and look for that. Those opportunities will start to come to you in vast waves because you have improved yourself, and people will be able to pick up on the fact that you have improved yourself and you're now a valuable mate. Anyway, random video, but I thought I would share that story because it is fucking creepy. And sometimes I like these stories in my head before it comes out of my head within 7 days to be on camera. Anyway, there's tons of other content like this over on the channel. Nutrition tips, training tips for naturals, everything. So go check it out. And until the next one, I'll see you then.